And now we come this week to lesson number 10 from Confession to Consolation in our series on the book of Daniel. And we're looking at Daniel chapter 9, great book of prophecy. We read about what's going to happen and how the Messiah is cut off in the midst of the week. And we can look at this as a great way of declaring that the Bible is true because it predicts all that is going to happen, even the death of Jesus right in the middle of the week, as we can say. But what I would like to take us to is not necessarily all this prophetic material, important though it is, but to relate to the reason why these questions were being asked by Daniel in the first place. Daniel was a good Bible student, and he was looking at the scroll of the prophet Jeremiah, which was available to him. And he's reading in Jeremiah 25, 11 and 12, 29 and 10. And that's the material we're given in our biblical passages for this week. And he realizes that the 70 weeks predicted are coming to an end. And yet he doesn't see much happening. And he's wondering, well, is this really true? Is this really happening? He's concerned about it and he's praying about it. And this is why God answers him by giving him this information, I'd like to say it that way, about the future and what is going to happen to encourage Daniel. That's what it's for. Not primarily for us later on, although it's helpful to us to understand it and everything else like that, but to encourage Daniel that he might encourage the people of his time and to say, yes, we did do some terrible things and God had to take us out of the promised land and put us here in Babylon to teach us what we should be doing. But now, after that temporary period of discipline, we are going to be going back. And he's given me this information about why and how, and it's exciting now because, as Daniel said, I was upset, but now I am reassured by what God has explained to me. He reveals in this plan not only redemption for his people, but his own coming as Jesus, and that he will be rejected by his people. And while there is immediate comfort to Jerusalem, the Messiah, the Christ who is to come, the great hope, the fulfillment of their dreams, he's going to be cut off because he comes to his own and his own receives him not. And I think as we look at this, let's not just worry about the imagery and the dreams and the visions and everything else like that, but the fact that God really does care about all these people. I'm reading in Ellen White's comments that we are living in the last days when the error of a most deceptive character is accepted and believed while truth is discarded. And she's talking about all the false concepts that are around us in her day, even worse today. And she says, he calls upon us to work diligently in gathering up the jewels of truth and placing them in the framework of the gospel. Daniel has to be set in the context of the gospel. Sometimes we get a little crazy in our prophetic interpretation. We have all our charts and the beasts and the imagery and everything else. No, it's in the context of the gospel of God who comes to us, who saves us, and who will eventually take us home. Let's make that the focus of our discussion this week.